Hey everybody, Kevin Purcell. Today we got a Theotek Extra, and we have Antoine Wright, who is live at CES. And we thought we'd take this rare opportunity to go ahead and speak to him. He's in a bit of a lull, some downtime. It looks like you're in your hotel room, but you've spent, how many days have you been there now? 1 or 2? 2 days? And he's been walking the floor, putting lots of time on, lots of miles on his exercise tracking equipment and that sort of thing. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about what he's seen and how interesting it is, and maybe talk a little bit about how that impacts church and Theotech kinds of things. But really, this is probably more about general technology today than anything else. And just because he's interested, Wes Allen joined us this morning.
I'm awake
at about 9 a.m. Eastern time. Good morning, Wes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. We're under 9 inches of snow down here in the greater Charlotte area. I'm about an hour and a half from Hickory, from Charlotte rather, in the foothills of western North Carolina. We've got 9 inches of snow, so it's lots of fun. Everything's pretty much shut down, but we've got our bread and milk, so we're okay.
Almost like you're from Philadelphia. Bread and milk. There you go. And water.
So Antoine, tell us, what is CES? Why are you there? Start with that.
CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, has been going on for, this is the 50th year actually of it. Those people that buy really morphed from the parts that make consumer electronics, that kind of their trade show, to literally the exhibition of all of the stuff that comes here that you're going to buy for Christmas for your kids or for your offices or see in your cars over the next 2 or 3 years. It's a pretty neat moment. Kevin, I just shared with you through our private channel there my Flickr library. I uploaded the first 100 or so pictures I took last night. I'm here because I'm with a group representing a group. I guess it's cool to actually talk about this now. This is a Dutch group called I Am Progress, and they kind of compared to 90% of CES, they're not coming with hardware. They actually come with software. They have a software product that gamifies soft skills assessments for recruiting needs, which is pretty neat. You have hard skill assessments, which is easy, and the resume upload, applicant tracking system type stuff. But this group actually has gamified the soft skills assessment piece, so it kind of quantified what makes people fit with one another. So a lot of the groups here are startups or existing companies. A lot of companies looking for funding. The group I'm with actually helps on the staffing side of that, which is pretty cool.
So they basically millennialized soft tracking?
Not quite millennialized. It is almost a step beyond that. So a lot of the educational, the university educational folks, they understand, and there's a number of folks talking about it and demonstrating it. The idea of turning rote assessments or just questions you have to ask into something a little bit more enjoyable than saying, please pick A or B.
Well, also, I think it'll get a real-time look at the way people are emotionally responding to something, because you respond to something differently in a game than you do as a series of questions.
Yeah, and that's what this software does. It actually understands, pace to response, time to response, those kind of things, so that it's easier to figure out what fit looks like for a team before you get to the whole, I've hired them, oh my crap, it's a few days in, this wasn't a really good idea.
So essentially, you're there with a company. But CES in general is, a trade show. People are showing off their current products somewhat, but mostly stuff that they're planning to release here in the next year. And sadly, sometimes they never get it out the door. It's just they're hoping to get it out the door. But you'll see a lot of the it's like future tech, you know, so you're right up your alley, stuff that's coming in the future, right?
Yeah, stuff that's here or near here. Actually, like it's really cool. Indiegogo has a very large slice of the pavilion that I'm at. A lot of those folks have prototypes. Some of those folks don't have any prototypes. Kickstarter as well has a pretty sizable contingent. So there's a lot of technology that's not quite here yet. I got a demo of a band that you put on your wrist there that does gesture tracking. So you put the band on your wrist, or it's embedded into a watch band, and they're able to do gesture tracking and wave something or another. I'm like totally forgetting the guy's name, but I did actually tell him at one point that I was going to talk about them a couple dozen times. They are they have a prototype. They don't have the full product. They're actually here looking for venture capitalists to invest in their idea. So you got a good bit of that. It's the stuff that's not quite here yet. And then you got a boatload of the little pieces that make your device. Like I planned on not taking pictures of the small Asian companies, usually Asian companies that make batteries and transistors and rubber and all that stuff. There's like a whole slew of people that have earbud covers for your Apple AirPods, stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of folks like that. So the little things that you don't even think of that is part of what makes your consumer electronics device work. Cases, they're here. Those are the people that are here, which is cool.
Is that Shaq and?
Yeah. So AT&T, they did on Thursday night. They did their tip-off, which is kind of the beginning of the night of NBA action. They did that show live. I literally caught that literally right before they got started, but it got really packed in there fairly quick. So I got a pretty good picture. Yay, Apple phone 7 with your Zoom. And then Shaq was here the next day doing a symposium for startups and something else, because he's besides being a PhD, having got his PhD, he's actually an investor into several companies, which is pretty cool.
So it's Dr. Shaq now?
Yeah. He got his PhD a year ago.
So all right, so let's what's the most interesting thing you're seeing? Let's do it this way. What's the single most interesting product you've seen?
That's a good question. Let me go back to my pictures. Most interesting product. Gosh, that's a great question. Lot of stuff with wearables. God, awful amount of stuff with wearables. There's literally a floor and a half that's devoted to wearables and Internet of Things. So it's that part is cool. Everybody's got their sensors built into their devices. I do like all of the running tech. I thought it was pretty cool. Some of the companies that I talked to, one of them I took a picture of a few times. Their running tech is just about at the point where they can start measuring stress on your bones. So, they have socks, smart socks that can tell how you run, but it actually measures, hey, you're putting too much pressure on this part of your body. The ring that you're showing right now, the one in the middle, Helios, they're actually in the booth right next to me. They're a Dutch startup company. That the lady that started that ring detects vitamin D deficiencies, which is neat, because one of the other rings on my finger there, the one on the top there, is the Aura ring. So that's a Finnish company. They're not here at CES, but they really like the fact that I've talked about them. That does more sleep tracking than it does, so there's a lot of folks that are looking at that wellness picture, that data behind, hey, listen, do you know what your body does? Do you know how your body really reacts to all of this? The folks that are concentrating on that, I got to talk to a lady that's doing R&D at Ford. They are doing some bananas stuff. They're actually on my list to try and get over to their area today, because the stuff that they're doing has nothing to do with driving and everything to do with making driving cool. That was cool. Yeah, showing a picture for the watch. So this is the company. If you guys went on or you may have seen it on Kickstarter or whatever, but this is the watch that is powered by the heat of your body. And it's cool, it's neat. I'm like reasonably excited about everything. It's big.
Anton, what display is that? Is that an e-ink or what's?
Yes, e-ink, e-ink type display.
Okay.
And yeah, and so you put the put the watch on, and it's powered by your body heat. They are literally the only company that has this tech. And they are like right on the cusp of having the final push on their funding. Which is cool. I really was not going to stop at that booth. I was so not going to stop at that booth.
So we're seeing lots of wearables. I've seen a few pictures of you or somebody in VR headsets. Are you seeing a lot of that?
Yeah, VR and AR is definitely a story. VR, AR, and Alexa. I guess those are the kind of big things.
What was that third thing you said? VR, AR, and what?
Alexa, Amazon Alexa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Alexa, Amazon's allowing it to be integrated into like third parties. So was it Lenovo came up with their own, basically their speaker?
The computers, the computer stuff is cool. The wearable stuff is interesting. There's a company, Martian. You've probably scrolled past that picture already. They make some pretty classy looking watches that have Alexa built in.
The Martian has it built in?
Yeah, it has Alexa built in, and so all you is their app on your mobile, and it's Android or iOS, and basically it can do everything that Siri or Cortana or Google Now will do, but it's doing it through Alexa on a classy looking watch, that's pretty cool. On the Internet of Things side, you have folks building Alexa into speakers, heating units, refrigerator.
Just in case there's someone who doesn't understand Alexa, go ahead and explain that.
Sure. So many people have seen the commercials with Amazon talking about their Pringles can looking unit called the Echo. Echo is the hardware that Amazon uses to deliver Alexa, which is a voice platform, the voice only interface platform. It's got some really cool, crazy, strange API going behind it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make it to the Wynn Casino and Hotel because they are the group here in Vegas that are deploying Amazon Echoes inside of all of the rooms. And so you'll have Alexa as your room service person inside of every room in the Wynn sometime in the next year or so. That you've got that. That's what Alexa is.
Yeah, I've got my Fire tablet here.
You got Alexa built into that, I'm sure.
Honestly, I just got this. This is the newest version. I just got it as a Christmas gift, and I haven't even tried Alexa on it. So my previous Fire didn't have Alexa. Let's see. Do I just talk to it? How do I increase the microphone? Alexa, what is CES? Now you got to engage it somehow, and I haven't learned how to do that yet.
I'll tell folks. I mean, folks do look and think voices. I've heard from some industry folks, and that are not really excited about voice input. It's bigger than you think when you're not dealing with being outside.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm not quite ready to jump on board with it because they haven't even. I don't even think any of the parties who are involved in it right now are even considering security. Because doesn't Alexa just basically record you all the time?
Well, it's listening. They say it's listening, but they don't. It doesn't keep track you individually. But at the same time, there's this legal case out. I didn't hear the result of it, but I think some of you heard about that. Some law enforcement was trying to subpoena records from Alexa for what they believed was a murder. A man allegedly strangled somebody, and they wanted to get the vocal recording from Alexa because the guy had one in his room.
Yeah, that case is still pending, but Alexa is listening. It is listening. The way Amazon built it is listening all the time. It does not begin recording, transcribing until it hears its trigger word, which is going to be Alexa, Echo, Dot, whatever you set up your trigger word to be against that respective device. So that part of it being secure is that for Alexa is that's not necessarily an issue and something I walked into. Unfortunately,
until somebody figures out how to hack it.
No.
It's bad enough with webcams.
No.
This
Theotek activity. So actually, let me show this, guys. So these guys here. Oops, move that over here. Those guys.
Yeah.
Play Theotek.
So these guys here, OCF. These are the they're the foundation that basically builds the standards. That's building a standards body for Internet of Things. So there are 300 companies with these folks. OCF had their pen. They actually gave me a pretty cool coffee mug once I did a little survey about Internet of Things. They are working with companies to build basically a way for people, us consumers, to kind of validate, are they using the right platform and with Internet of Things, with voice-led interfaces.
Well, I think just in general, because so many IoT devices are essentially left wide open with default root passwords and all sorts of cool things.
So yeah, that's been my favorite question to the IoT folks that has stopped me. So do you know about IoT? And then I show them my hand, and they're like, "Oh, well, you've got smart rings and all." I'm like, yeah. So I say, "So I've got smart rings. Do you have a password that I can change?"
No, it's default. It's the same on every device, and it's Baker. So
there are companies that understand that a little bit better now, because that's been a pretty neat question, apparently. There are some
because their devices have been getting hacked for the last year.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah.
And then there are folks that do understand it and have innovated, some cool stuff. So like Kevin, you showed on the pictures earlier, towards the, I guess, top of my pictures, there was this projector headlamp. It is, if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it is the 25th picture in my deck. It's right before the thing with the little coif of hair. But there's this group called Beam. They just finished their Kickstarter and they got funding and what have you. They built a light that has a projector in it, and it connects to your mobile, and it's interactive. So you can project onto a surface, have the TV kind of affair, but you can actually project your mobile onto a surface and interact with your mobile through the projected light. It's bananas cool. It's really cool. I know I counted 26 pictures. That's crazy, but they're cool. And it's a whole self-contained computer. It's literally a Linux box running Android, an Android branch of its own.
That is it.
No, that's the dancing. That's the robots that were doing Macarena, the drones that were doing the Macarena. So that's pretty funny. Yeah, that's been a popular thing here. Drones.
It has. What do you want to do now? It's
yes.
Here. What do you want to do next?
Yeah, that one.
So you're projecting that from a headband?
Right before that picture, Kevin.
Okay, so this.
Diesel before that, the other direction. What do you want to do next?
Look for Trump's toupee and go to the one before that.
Yeah. And so as he's scrolling through, oh wow, you didn't. How'd that happen? Go forward again.
That's Trump's toupee. That's the one before it.
Are you in the album or in his photo stream?
Photo stream.
Go in his album because it's ordered differently. I don't know why it's ordered differently, but it is.
No clue. I think that's because the album did it the way it popped up. But and while you get that, so the Trump toupee, that is funny. So the Dutch company that's right across the hall, right across the street from me, if you will, from where I am. Let's see. Okay, to Kevin, yeah, that one. So the Dutch company that's right across the beam from me, they did the Trump toupee one. They do Kiesel, which this is a piece of church, actually technology that I thought churches would really like. And this one as well, the beam is pretty cool too. But the Trump Toupee one, they built a VPN in your pocket, a pocket VPN. You connect to that, and you have your VPN already set up in a box. The irony of this is that Trump is really not the person you want to talk to about internet security. I thought that was pretty funny. You know, the Trump Kiesel, they have the quaff over top. The Dutch are a special kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if his stuff didn't get hacked. It was the other side.
Kiesel, well, that's why there's the irony of a Trump Kiesel.
So what was it about this is the projector thing?
Yeah, that's called the beam. So it's a projector that connects to your mobile, and it shows the screen of what's on your mobile through the projector.
So this is the projector right here?
Yeah, full computer, full built into it.
And it's just projecting on the table?
Yeah, and you can interact with projection.
Okay.
You can interact with the projection?
So can I tap this link? Like if I want to open my calendar or my email, do I just tap this link on the table?
Yep.
So that's sort of like there was another company that did that, only they were projecting a keyboard. It's not new technology, but
but they were able to get the power efficiency to a decent spot that fits in a light bulb, which is pretty cool.
Light bulb, just this little light bulb, is that the projector, or is it this black thing?
Yeah, that's the black thing there. That's that black
projector,
like canister looking thing with a bulb piece on the end of it.
Okay.
So that's it's pretty big. So if you look at studio lighting, track lighting type things, it's not a small track light, if you will. It's
not intended to be mobile necessarily.
No. That you plug that into your lamp stand or your track lighting system, and you project it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay, so the thing that's on the table that's being seen, that's the projector, but the thing that's actually projecting it is above, and it's projecting straight down.
Right.
Gotcha. So now I get it. I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on, because I was like, that just looks like a light socket. I thought that was the projector.
Yeah, that's the whole unit is that, which is cool. And so a lot of
this, you screw this into like a directional lamp and then aim it at a wall or aim it at the ceiling or something like that.
That's what it has, got the directional lamp and regular lights honestly built in. So you can think, like, if I'm a small church and I deal with, and you're a small church and you have a projector and a wall, you can either buy a projector and replace that lamp, once or twice a year, however your budget is for that. Or you can have something like this that has the whole computer built in, and you as AV person are controlling the entire thing from your mobile while you're sitting in the congregation. It's not a projector that's connected to another computer that's connected to an automation system. This is all self-contained in one fell swoop. And that one lamp projector, $549 US, 499 euros.
How what's the specs on it? Like, what's resolution?
Oh gosh, what did he say? 3K video. It's able to do. I don't know how he handled the heat, because I did ask about that when you started pushing that. But
is it essentially an LED setup, or what's
the lamp lights that itself? There's the projector beam, which is kind of normal projector light, and then there are lights inside of that unit around it that are LED lights. So it really is lights with a projector in the middle of it and speakers.
So you're talking like what's your lumens and contrast and things like that?
Yeah, I don't remember all those numbers. That's been a lot of.
What was the name of the company again, Antoine? I'll check it up.
Beam, BEAM. If you look up Beam, and they were on Kickstarter, so that probably would be the second key term to use. Beam.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Yep, Beam's
pretty cool.
Projector.
Yeah,
that does look interesting.
That was it for those little projectors. That honestly makes too much sense. The Kiesel with the quaff we were looking at before, the private VPN solution. For those who are doing mission teams to some obscure areas, that's probably something you should go purchase if you're not willing to train people how to connect to secure networks, which many churches and mission groups find themselves not as able to do. you should probably go get a Kiesel, and it makes setting into a VPN a whole lot easier than trying to figure out settings and all that fun stuff. You just Kiesel, and you're in a VPN protected network. Can't remember the price for that, but I can ask them today.
All right, I got the specs on the Beam. So it's you're still talking very young technology. So it's only an 854 by 480 native resolution. So it is a Pico projector. It's only 100 lumens, 20,000 hours, which is really nice. It's got 8 gigs of storage. It's running BGN Wi-Fi, and it's a dual core processor with Bluetooth built in. So you're not going to be using this for a big screen, but it would be interesting for like a teaching environment where you can control the lighting.
Maybe a classroom situation more than a sanctuary.
And it's not, I mean, when I'm looking at it from what Anton was saying, I know it beams your total, but the way they're advertising it, it's more like an if-then type thing. So it's not like for static information. It's more like something you leave on, and it says, when this time comes up, throw this up on the screen. So imagine like in your house, you can be like, well, when my alarm goes off, throw the news up on the screen.
That's because it's connected to your mobile. Yeah, right. That's because it's connected to your. So when it's not connected to your mobile, it's a lamp, and so if the projector's not on, you've got the regular light going on, but you are the if this and like that, interactive computing.
Because it's a computer in of itself, it can do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says play a movie when someone arrives home, leave a message, or display the weather every morning. Yeah, it's not intended for what we're thinking of it in our situation. It would be more for like if you've got a foyer in your church and someone walks in, it senses their motion and throws up.
No.
Stay at High Peak Baptist Church.
No. What you're thinking of as like a teaching environment, that's what they're demoing this as.
I wouldn't use this though. It's
your Kickstarter says like the opposite. It's more like a thing that runs on its own.
More the hey, this is your movie place, your play space. It's.
Yeah, but you'd have to keep it pretty dark for 100 lumens. That's going to be awfully.
It did show they actually had one on the floor, surrounded by fluorescent light, and it was maybe let's say 2 meters, so almost 3.5 feet. Was the high as the lampstand, and they had that projecting with the light from the show floor, and it was still pretty clear.
Yeah, but this is a pretty contrast image, right here.
Oh yeah.
Well, and they're projecting. You can tell they're projecting on a dark background too, so that helps.
Was under a dark cover, projected to a dark cover. No.
Well, okay.
It does look interesting, but Antoine, I would use something like that in a foyer. Like here, the office is this way, the nursery's this way, the sanctuary is this way. We're worshiping over here, and scan this code to get the bulletin.
Well, they're pushing that, but they're also pushing the that it's interactive, which I think is, computing in space is where my brain goes.
Here they've got like in a bedroom, or that looks more like a hotel room. They're beaming it onto a wall, and here it's in a, what are these folks having cheese? So that's
cheese and wine. There you go.
Something.
Your dining room or what have you, and you just flip the light from off your tray.
Show your boring vacation photos and make your guests wish they hadn't come.
What else is there? Toys. So there's a whole section about connected toys. Once I get back, literally speaking, I get back Sunday morning, dark early Sunday morning, and I start back in the children's ministry at the church that I attend. And toys are a really interesting topic. A lot of connected toys, a boatload of connected toys. And all of them are ready to talk about security with connected toys. Talked to a group from Mattel as they walked past my venue. That was really cool. That not only are they thinking about safety and connectivity, but they're thinking about how much connectivity do they put into a device, or should they put into a device? The brush. That is actually cooler than it sounded when I first heard it.
Well, I'll tell you, I got pitched on this to write about it, and from the PR, and I was like, "What?"
It's a smart brush. Are you kidding me?
No, that's what
your guy,
and it's got an app.
No, your guys
Tell
are
me
your guy.
what it sounds like. Tell me how.
So it just so happened when I was walking up to Withings to look at the brush, because I was intrigued. That's like a smart brush. A woman was in front of me and she also saw it. She borderline was ready to buy it on the spot, because what happens with her is that she deals with her hair tangling all the time. She's like, I really don't understand, how much force do I need to make my, to brush my hair. I just brush it till, it stops hurting anymore. I don't know, the health of my hair after I brush it. And that's exactly what they're pushing there is, there's a health of your hair, a condition of your hair is equal to condition of your body piece that Withings is tapping on with this, to basically be able to help folks figure out, the condition of their hair while they are brushing their hair. So certain number of brushes is putting this kind of stress on your hair, and you should do it this hard. You should do it this.
Antoine, I got to tell you, that's like the biggest waste of technology I think I've ever heard of in my life.
It sounds your guy. Like seriously, it's one of those. There was one of the few venues at CES. CES is a very the ratio of men to women easily is like 100 to 1. But it was easily one of the few places that wasn't fitness and home-based technology that had more ladies asking the right questions than it had guys. So there were things that they got. After she explained, oh, okay, it makes no sense to me. I wouldn't even care to look at that. This young lady had hair down to the middle of her back, and did the whole dyeing thing. So she's concerned about the quality of her hair. She goes through that.
Okay.
It makes total sense.
Well,
she doesn't want a ring, that's fitness tracking, but she'll do a hairbrush that does.
I have to ask my daughter what she thinks of that one.
Is there any presence of the Christian community here that you saw or not?
Okay, so and hopefully he doesn't mind me talking about this. Last night, super duper chance meeting. We were literally taking down the booth, and lady and older gentleman walked past. He and I get to talking, and he asked me, he was asking about the product, but he termed it in a nice context. He wanted to know how I would deal with an unruly 18-year-old, and how does the software that I'm working with help him get a job? And best way to come at me with a pitch, make me think. So as I explained my methodology of how I would deal with an 18-year-old. Part of that, as I said, we at some point with him and I, the young man and I would have to deal with his relationship with God in order to help him figure out why he's not working. And he turned to me and he said, "Wait a minute, you're a believer?" I was like, "Well, yeah, man, I can't do this without God." And he's like, "I am too." So about the Lord for a minute there, and he was actually the Secretary of the Senate under Bush too.
Oh, really? Well, there's an interesting
yes
chance meetings.
But that's just there's a Christian attending CES. What I'm talking about is, are there any Christian companies or organizations that are presenting there?
No,
okay.
None that I saw. To that end, it was disappointing. I tweeted one company that should have been there, and they'll probably smile and nod at me. CES is not necessarily. They would do CES. They just probably wouldn't do Vegas. Renew Outreach is one company that does the kind of physical products, or at least the building blocks, the physical products that would show up at a CES. There is a group there, and I cannot remember the name of the church. There's a local church. You will meet them when you leave the airport, or when you're leaving the airport. But they do some cool evangelism to the techies. And not so techies, because right after CES is the adult entertainment conference. So they tend to be here in droves, ministering to folks. But in terms of Christian presence and products, haven't seen anybody. I would expect to have seen a Lifeway, with some of their wares or something of that sort. But years ago to stop expecting that. Unfortunately, many believers don't understand their place in the marketplace. We have our own conferences for that, versus literally being in the mix of the world here for something like that.
That is true. I mean, that is, we tend to like to huddle in our little corners and for things like this. But, well, I mean, that's kind of sad. Well, I write for notebooks.com and gottabemobile.com. And for notebooks.com, one of the things that we've been covering is all the new computers. And just before we went live on the air, I made the comment, that I saw an article on one of the other sites about the PC is interesting again. I know the two of you kind of poo-pooed that because you're both just, you're all Mac guys. And then, of course, Antoine is living in...
I didn't say anything about it, actually, but that's
that's something I've found interesting announcements from the various laptop companies. I think what the Windows world is doing is far more interesting than what Apple is doing today.
Well, Apple's not going to show up
with their Surface Studio alternative, which looks pretty slick. Now this product right here in the center of my screen is a little ridiculous, but it's for gamers primarily.
But the Razer, that thing's like 21 pounds.
Yeah, it's a 3-screen notebook essentially. I wrote this one about the Predator 21X, which is a 21-inch curved screen. And again, that's a $900 gaming computer. So I mean, I know it's not mainstream, but at least there's something interesting happening here. HP with this EliteBook, like extremely high-end convertible tablet laptop. That's cooling a little bit.
The laptop or desktop side of things, it's not necessarily that it's missing, or not interesting. I mean, I don't find it. CES is not the. Well, CES is actually the place for dead technology. The things that Windows is doing really well has to do so little with the laptop form factor. I mean, the 2-in-1 stuff. A lot of folks are using your yoga notebook to do as kiosks to display what they're doing with Internet of Things, which is cool because Microsoft's platform is really cool. And on one refrigerator I saw, which was interesting. That's where I think the PC is more interesting outside of this traditional form factor.
Okay. Here's the thing. I just want to jump in here. I'm sorry, but for people who are interested in church and Bible technology, we had this conversation last time. The PC, the computer, the laptop, the desktop is going to be very relevant to us, and therefore the people watching this or listening to this for many more years to come. And because of that, people that care about those things, it's more that where it's happening right now. The interesting new ideas or new form factors are coming on the PC side. Or here, also think about the Chrome side.
I think the Chromebook is the most interesting.
It's awesome.
That's the most interesting. The PC's what's the new form factor? So Alienware makes a bigger, better, badder gaming laptop, but they've been doing that for the last 10 years.
Ever.
Okay, what you're saying, what's happening is it's Windows laptops have mostly just been boring and who cares about them. But now they're coming out with a lot better screens. They're refining what already exists. Okay, they're putting in the latest processors and the latest. I guess what I'm saying is, if you want the best of a laptop, you don't go to Apple anymore. You buy a PC. If you want the best on a laptop, you don't buy an Apple anymore.
I disagree.
I know you do because you guys are Apple guys. So
Kevin, one of the things, and this, there are a few people on Medium who've been writing about this as well. And one gentleman, him and I were talking about our iPad Pro versus Surface 4. And, the hardware wise, yes, Windows has better hardware specs, but they still don't have the quality of user experience.
That's wrong. I totally disagree with that.
I've been
the UX Windows almost exclusively. The only times I sit down and use a Mac is when I do this podcast because I've got my MacBook set up to do it, and I am perfectly happy in the Windows world 90% of the time. There's almost no difference between the user experience on either side.
Well, and again, you know, I mean, I'm the second to the last person that should say that Mac OS and Windows are competing platforms. I think both of those platforms have they're utilitarian. They work for what they work for. They
work. They work.
What they work for. You know, my friends here, who I'm hopefully not waking up right now, you know, they're watching me with amazement do everything that they're doing, but I'm doing it on an iPad. You know, that to me is you know, seeing folks that are using Android to control home units, you know, and not just using just a grid of icons to do so, but they're building different interfaces. That's where I see personal computing, you know, as taking that step forward. You know, traditional form factors, and like you said, you know, those who are involved in church tech, Bible tech, you know, they're going to be, at least for a piece of the foreseeable, until that software catches up, they're going to use that traditional form factor, and maybe a 2-in-1, you know, that finally gets more than 3 hours of battery life is going to be something that ticks the needle. But you know, the gaming laptop stuff, that's just more of the same stuff. You know, it's not yet there, and well, it's not. I don't think it ever will really be there as being, to quote the Steve Jobs-ish analogy. It's a truck. You know, it's a really specific purpose for carrying out a customized body of work. You know, but computing, the really fun stuff. You know, the folks that are doing VR environment with a VR headset, the whole thing was encased in here. You know, and it did the tracking, and that's a PC environment that's different. That I could see. That's what I can see. You know, if I'm going to talk about new form factors and what's PC's doing, clamshell laptop or tablet even. I'm looking at, you know, how do I extend my senses? How do I you know, get out of the ability from having to sit in one place and do something, or if I am sitting in one place, that I'm doing more than just using a mouse and a keyboard. And I think, you know, and it would be nice if some of our church tech was here, representing their software, because they could actually see those opportunities to build into these newer platforms that, you know, their wares. You know, you see something like Beam, and the second thought I have, the first thought is, oh, my apartment gets a TV finally. But the second thought is, why doesn't my church have the ability, by just throwing my fingers up at a light, the ability to control what happens on the screen? Because we already do projectors in our church. You know, why do I need a clamshell laptop in front of me with a control panel to be able to do something like that when that in? So.
Excuse me.
And I think one of the things that's going on with the PC world right now is you see a lot of people they felt pressure from Apple. They are trying a whole bunch of different form factors, and they're trying to see what sticks. So the big gaming laptops and the curved screen and everything, that really is a niche of a niche PC market. Although I think video editors who are mobile would probably like that really much.
Yeah.
But with standard workstation type things, all the foldables and things like that, they're nice.
Where are they?
I mean, that's fine. And for that, all it is a matter of preference. It has nothing to do with this being better or this being this much. It's whatever you want to use, just use it. And what I'm finding interesting is that so many of these really high-end Windows laptops are now creeping into Apple price range. So you're seeing, so the one knock has always been like, well, I can get more bang for the buck with Windows. And now that you're seeing these companies come back going, you know, we need to really worry about build quality and make sure things last more than 2 years. And so now they're starting to creep up, and they're starting to find price parity with some of the Apple price ranges, because when they do that, they need to maintain their return on investment.
They're just as good a quality, but they are cheaper. The new MacBook Pro is a lot more expensive than these most recent Windows laptops that have just as good a quality.
Yeah, I said they're creeping up towards. I didn't say they're there. I said they're creeping up towards it.
Right. Well, but
You're starting to see it. You're starting to see a creep that goes up. And what you're going to see is the more people are willing to pay those higher prices, guess what's going to happen? The price is going to keep going up. It's
well,
just the way it works.
I don't think that's true because first of all, MacBook doesn't have a Kaby Lake processor in it, whereas all these laptops do, and they're around the $1,000 to $1,200 mark, whereas the MacBook with a slower processor is, the 20-something.
Right, Kev, but 4 years ago, if you would have asked someone to spend $1,200 on a Windows PC, they would have looked and said, I can get one for $200.
Yeah, but they would have said, but most, a few years ago, people would have said, I don't want a Windows PC, it's crap.
But that's what I'm saying, Kevin, is now people are used to paying $1,200 for a Windows laptop. And if they start paying this, because the manufacturers are doing this in a lot of respects, manufacturers are doing this out of a sense of survival, because with that race to the bottom to commoditize everything, there wasn't any profit margin on it. So now they're raising up again and they're getting profit margin. I'm not complaining that it's a bad thing. I think they're doing a very smart thing.
Yeah, but
I think they're doing a very good job making really high quality laptops. The prices are creeping up towards Apple range, really where Apple was about 4 years ago. And people are willing to pay the price for it because people have wanted good stuff. So bully for the PC market. I'm not complaining about what the PCs are doing, Kev. I'm saying they're doing a good job. They're doing it the right way. They did it the wrong way for many years.
You sound like I'm. Well, anyway, let's just move on because the Apple debate is boring.
Yeah, well, hey, Kevin, let me talk about something that did impress me because I had to go back to my pictures. There was one tech that impressed me. So, it's actually, if you go back to that Beam picture and you go a few after that, I got a chance before the show opened up to the public to walk the floor over at the Sands Pavilion here, Sands Expo Center, and the new era folks. The folks, they have earbuds, smart earbuds they call them, that they are hawking. They're doing. So I'm terribly interested in earbuds. At some point, I need to charge mine before I get back on the floor. So their earbuds, they're similar to the Bragi Dash and the Hearin, that whole same family of stuff that it is on that line that you're looking at right now with the Beam. It is that fourth one. Yeah. So they have smart earbuds. You can actually change the hearing environment. So it does total noise cancellation. It also streams music, but then there's like other different modes that you can set from your phone. So what you're looking at there on the device that are there, there's the two earbuds there. Those pictures are so out of order because there's one of me showing it with them in my ears and me looking like Frankenstein. The buds connect to your phone and they basically you can put up a sound profile. So you can do stuff like a restaurant profile and it'll tune out everybody that's around you except for the person that's about 3 feet from you. And the person 3 feet from you is really clear and everything else is mute. Yeah, there you go.
Geez, that's huge.
Yeah, they are. So that was my knock, is that they fell out of my ear. That one actually fell out not long after that picture. I started headbanging. I probably didn't have the right tip on it to stick in my ear. It's got 16 different size tips that stick in your ear.
So Antoine, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Could I program these things to listen for my voice so that when I'm calling to my son who's playing for a game, I don't have to scream at the top of my lungs and go rip the headphones off his head for him to respond to me?
So one of the things that I noticed is that the feedback you get from your own voice is really loud.
Oh, good. He can hear himself, so it's not yelling.
You can totally hear yourself. You can hear yourself. But the stuff outside of you can go completely or nearly silent.
But I wanted to listen to my voice.
You want it.
So when I tell,
I don't know that New Hera would do that one.
He hears me.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a few other companies that were working on targeted hearing. You program it so that you can hear specific tones, frequencies. I don't know if that's something that you could do for that. So you would make him put those on so that he just hears your voice.
Yes.
I'm not, yeah,
I'm
I'm
waiting
not
for
sure.
that.
Yeah, that every parent is waiting for that.
Yes. Make that now. I'll pay the 100 or 150, 200 just for that feature
little
alone.
case, the little case there holds 4 charges.
Oh,
and then
nice.
the
Okay.
device itself. And then the device itself has a charge, so you basically get like 5 different charges from it. It'll charge every time that they're in there.
How long did it last individually? Just one time?
She said she told me that you can get 2 hours continuous music streaming as long as you don't have the noise cancellation on. If the noise cancellation's on, it's going to be based on whatever else is happening around you. Because obviously, the more noise, the more work it's going to be taking to do.
Wow, for something like that, you can have a bigger battery than that.
It's a lot of tech in there that's actually doing the sound,
Yeah.
that's cutting out the sound. So, yeah. So if you were only using those for earbuds for music, you'd probably end up getting the 3 to 5 hours, which is about normal for that size earbuds. You get 3 to 5 hours of streaming, but with the noise cancellation, that cuts into that time since it's doing that extra processing work to cut out that sound behind you. Oh yeah, the Dutch shoes. So yeah, so we have a little pins, the little piece of swag I have. The Dutch clogs, those are pretty cool. There's nothing techie about those. They're just.
That's your company, the one that you're there with.
I Am Progress. That's out. There's a picture of 3 of us, myself and the 2 founders. Let me see. Where are you versus where am I? Would be.
Wes, did you see anything that sparked you wanted to ask about, maybe, or?
No, I really am interested in the Beam and its potential moving forward. I think that should be interesting. It's running Linux, Antoine? Is it running a version of Android, or what's it running?
Yeah, it's a version of Android.
So you can install apps and things on it, and
yeah, well, you can install apps, and literally it's kiosked, so it's kind of almost like a kiosk mode type Android. Yeah.
What about a speaker?
It's built. There's one built in.
Okay. So I feel like that scene in the bedroom where they have it, up on the wall, they can watch a big screen TV and the speakers right there. That might be interesting. I am interested in, you see Alexa everywhere, and I think you've talked about this in the past, is all these voice systems. It's going to change the way people are interacting with Bible software, which might not be a bad thing, and I wish it would, because it's when the voices get more humanized, so you're not talking to a robot. Mm-hmm. We always forget these texts are meant to be read out loud, and we read them silently. And if you can get someone get the cadence right and get the intonation correct, you can start hearing things like when translators work really hard to keep a pun intact that we miss because we're not speaking out loud or rhyming or things like that. That would be neat to see. But unfortunately, we're years off on that actually coming to pass.
We're probably not that far off. Tonal things for English, and I'm being very specific for English. That's not far off. It's the other languages that's the hurdle. So by Church Tech, unfortunately, I know it may sound like I'm slamming Church Tech here and there, because we really should be at an event like CES. There should be Christian companies that are building consumer electronics.
Well, yeah, like why wasn't Keenet there?
I don't know why.
Okay.
Ask again, Les?
Your friend from was it Korea, or that had your Surfer's pen holder?
Oh yeah, Twan. I don't know if he is or not. I haven't heard him mention it. He has a pretty good product too, so I don't know that it would get any value out of being there.
Well, the biggest value for CES is not the showy stuff. It's really the stuff so the floor that I'm on is dealing with university technologies and educational startups and international startups on one half of the floor. Mm-hmm. You go across the food court to the other half of the floor. It's all of the companies that make all the different components for this stuff. And that's where I think believers need to be. We make components. We build building blocks. We need to be a part of the solution of making responsible consumer technologies. You know, I would love to see Faith Life or Lifeway as a part of the Internet of Things Alliance. Help build the standards and have a voice into standards bodies for Internet of Things interfaces and voice-led stuff, or do something neat with Alexa in a can and call it the Tablet of Moses, or the replacement Charlton Heston or something. I don't know. Do stuff, but be active. And I think for me, to be here previously as part of a media outfit and as part of Mobile Ministry Magazine, that was cool because people were like, we didn't know Christians would come here. Right now, it's kind of like, okay, you guys really should be here. And we to have another believer genuinely seeking out other believers to connect to, and then stumble into him, that was cool, but we shouldn't have to stumble into each other in the marketplace. We really should be able to speak into this stuff and build some really kick butt stuff.
And I
we
think
got the spirit of the creator.
I think it's important that if you have Christian companies come, that they don't come there specifically, hi, we're Christians today. That they just go to be there. And that they should, company, they're just there. And, well, it's like Accordance used to go to Macworld back in the heyday of Macworld. And there's a great story of they came out with their Atlas like years ago, and I guess they were using QuickTime for it, and they had people from Apple come and look at it and going, you're not supposed to be able to do that. And here they had found a way to do something, but they were just there and they were demonstrating accordance and they were doing stuff, and they actually informed back to Apple, stuff that they didn't even know their software was capable of doing. And that's the type of thing that I really wish Christians would be involved in.
Now I do think there are a lot more believers here. They may not have spoken up, for various reasons. But we could really see, and it's not to say that believers aren't here. People of all faiths are here. I've met a few Muslims, I've met a few Buddhists. This is a very global conference. There's 400,000 people that descend on Las Vegas for this. It's crazy. Languages are all over the place. I'm in the Dutch pavilion. I don't speak Dutch, which is pretty self, but there is a place for faith to speak into, some of the ethics of what we're doing, to pay attention a little bit more into what we're doing. I'm looking to see that today, Kevin. That's on my list of places to go.
Okay.
That's some of the gesture and haptic stuff. I've caught a few folks, and I'm going to be. I have a little bit of time. I actually might get a shower here soon and try and get over there. I'm actually doing Airbnb, so I'm not staying in any hotels near things. That's actually another. Well, the Airbnb is great. The room, the home here that we're all staying in is excellent. But like that would be an opportunity for believers. Host, have an Airbnb home, and have the ability to host folks, not necessarily have a Gideon Bible on every nightstand, but, show forth hospitality, folks who are building our world.
I brought this up. This is over at Gotta Be Mobile, and this is the kind of thing that I could see, a church media specialist, in some big church could be interested in, because you'd have it's basically the Microsoft Surface with two parts instead of just one that adjusts. The Surface Studio, and this isn't a PC. This is just a monitor and an accessory. You have to hook up to a Windows 10 computer to use it. But I just thought that was interesting. It looks like it's got something very much like the dial over here, and of course it's pen based, which would be interesting. But anyway, be great. Probably great for editing.
Oh, that would be a great editing studio. And it's part of me looks at things like that and I go, that would be awesome, and it exists in a world I will never live in, which depresses me at the same time.
No, it's $17.99, so it's a pricey product. But how much is a high-end monitor?
Yeah, again, things that exist in a world I do not live in.
Yeah, I understand. Well,
and that's my great struggle.
You want to put a bullet, put a exclamation point on this for us, Antoine? I think it's about time.
Yeah, the Consumer Electronics Show is really a neat show. A few people I've talked to, this is their first show. They had this on their bucket list. Because it's very much. Somebody should spend 3 days, 3-4 days out here and do this show. The tickets aren't cheap. If you have the relationships, if you're a believer and you have relationships with consumer electronics companies or producers, and you know that they're coming, you may be able to come with them, help them out as an exhibitor, but then you'll also be able to get some floor time. Then that kind of minimizes your cost of getting here. But you should, anybody who's into gadgets, this is one of the 3 shows in the world you should probably make it to in your lifetime. Mobile World Congress being one, CETA probably being another one. There's very few of these where you can get every end of consumer electronics talked about and answered. For me, it's been a blessing to be here. I'm an exhibitor. I'm in the exhibitor space this time versus being in the media space. In the media space, my feet hurt because I walked around all day. In the exhibitor space, your feet hurt because you stand around all day.
So basically, come to CES, your feet will hurt.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got 10,000 steps on my Apple Watch, and so for those that knew I had my Polar device will give me 10,000 steps, and because it counted left foot, right foot as a step. Your Apple Watch counts left foot, right foot together as one step, so that it's a legit 10,000 steps. You're going to get a workout, so you're going to have some walking shoes. Uber, Lyft are really great ways to get around. Every driver I've had has been excellent for that. For the most part, people are very friendly, but there's also, you got to pay attention. You can't just be willy-nilly with your security here either. This is it's pretty cool. I've got another day, literally got another 15 hours or so before I jump on a plane, and then get back to the snow that exists over there.
Yes, sir.
But my car's in long-term parking uncovered.
Where are you? I won't even ask. Hilarious. Where you can tell me offline where you're flying into.
Yeah. I'll be back on the East Coast today.
To end it then, I think.
Yeah.
We should be doing this, Antoine. I think this is cool, and we've never had an opportunity to do something like this before with Theotek, and who knows, maybe you go next year, we can do it again. But I appreciate it. Wes, thank you so much for joining us. It made it a lot more interesting for 3 of us to have this discussion than just the 2 of us. But join us Tuesday night, 9 o'clock. We're going to do another one of the regular Theoteks, and it'll get posted at theotek.com soon after that. And so we'll sign off. Thanks, guys.
See ya.